into me
Did he
knowing
tell
him
you
very
why
well.
he wanted you to remember that?
Well, I had chosen, he said to me that I knew a lot from that particular lifetime, and I had a lot of responsibility in that lifetime. So the lifetimes after that, from then till now, I had it was dormant. So I didn't want any part of this in the other lifetimes.
What did he do in this lifetime that you knew about?
Well, no, he was just in sales. That's where I met him, in sales.
Sales?
But, yeah,
But
he was very quiet about his life.
Is this his first time around?
No. I was in several lifetimes with him.
But okay, with him.
With him, yeah.
What are the things that he do in his lifetime?
Well, I know what you're trying to get at, but
Yeah,
then again,
of course,
I'm talking
it's
for
important.
somebody else, and it's okay. You know who he was.
Who was he?
I don't feel free to
Why?
talk. I can say, well, let's go on to something else, Russ, okay?
That's right.
All right. He never broadcast the fact of who he was, and I feel like I might be betraying him now by...
He's gone.
Yes, but he's still with me, and it would not have been something that he wanted people to... I mean, it was good, and he was a great person in that lifetime, but it is not something that he brought forward to the world.
Okay, all right.
So I do respect that even today.
But
it was nothing bad. He was a very good person in that lifetime.
Is it right? Okay. Very prominent.
Very prominent.
Much like David Wilcox.
Yes, that we can talk anything about what's going on.
Who is David Wilcox?
He introduced me to all these people too, because I watched him. David Wilcox, which I don't know if it's in the mainstream news, that committed suicide.
Everybody's talking about
of
him.
what happened. I know that,
But
the scientists.
Can we tell the people who
Absolutely.
he was?
David Wilcox was here to talk about UFOs, disclosure. I think he was very high up in the organizations that they were running. And this David Wilcox passed away about 4 days ago today. Anybody in the community, especially with UFOs and people that knew, will know of him. And he was not, and everything that I have read, I have a lot of people on Facebook are in the same situation as we are, and they understand a lot. And the amount of messages that they have written that they do not believe that he committed suicide. He had done a program 2 days before his death, actually.
Okay.
And
what did he say?
Whether he was suicidal or not. I haven't listened to that.
Okay, but
we're talking about disclosure. A lot was now, because I believe that we're getting near to or close to disclosure. And he was coming out with everything, which he had talked about many times on many of his shows. So now he's not with us, but his memory lives on. And
did he talk about the law of one?
The law of one is what he really discussed.
Can you give us a synopsis of that?
I used to listen to him 3 years ago on Gaia, and I listened at that time when he was doing with Goodall. What was his name?
David Wilcox and Corey Good. Corey Good.
Yes,
they were partners.
It was about the law of one, but that's another
from
thing.
From a book of his, on the back of the book. Could you read a little bit of that? About what he left us?
Oh, actually, this is interesting too. Experiencing the power. I'm reading it for the first time, Russ.
I know. I'm sorry. I should have been with you.
No, that's fine. But we were talking about dreaming and awakening in a dream. And you know, I have to tell you something. I'm dyslexic, and I could not read aloud for many, many years, because if you're dyslexic, the words get jumbled up. And I have said to myself, and I've only recently started telling people that I'm terrible at spelling, because you see things backwards. But I have kind of anybody that thinks they're dyslexic and can't, I'm going to read this to you. And over the years, I said, no, I'm going to be able to.
It's from this book.
Awakening. Oh, okay. Well, yeah, but the show is, okay. Little did I know that within a few years, this is David Wilcox that wrote this. My lucid dreaming research, which is what we're talking about, okay, would plunge into a world that seems completely supernatural by most people's standards. Oh, this is perfect, because this is what we were just discussing. I would eventually come into direct contact with angelic, human-like extraterrestrial beings who help me completely revision science and spirit into a great and new whole. The beings who help me to, the beings that help me to identify a huge wealth of new evidence and proof that would help make my case. I won't read the whole thing, not now, but thank you for giving it to me. Yes, he was very, very into this.
So people might pick up and get the book.
Okay.
So why do you think, after being so prominent and so prolific in terms of studying aliens and extraterrestrials and talking to other beings. Why do you think they decided to take him out?
Well, we don't have, just as a disclaimer, we don't actually have proof that they did that. Allegedly, yeah.
Okay, allegedly.
So, I mean, many people just believe that he'd had enough and maybe did want to commit suicide. We don't know, and they haven't, nobody's coming out with it, but many people, there are people that don't want you to spread this information, not about him, but there's going to be disclosure that there are people on other planets. This I have no problem with talking about whatsoever, because in my book I mention that I go to many planets. Though I have been abducted many times. I don't mind, because this is something that I know that has happened to me. I can't talk for someone else, and I can't talk from other lifetimes so much, but I can only tell you what I'm going through right now. And he was very, very close to disclose. Well, he'd been disclosing this information for a long time, but because he knew a lot, there is a possibility that people want to shut this down, this information, and they go to any length. I believe, again, I have no proof, and I just want to say that too, that these things happen, but we read a lot in the news, and he was one person that definitely disclosed his own disclosure and had a big following, a tremendous following of people.
Millions of people, yeah. And bought a very prolific writer, extremely prolific in terms of what he had written.
And he was coming out, I mean, over the years, I had not listened to him over this last couple of years, but in the beginning of my journey, I believe that Alda must have told me to look him up, because I started to watch him about 6 or 7 years ago. I mean, I was into my journey, but what he said was so true, and obviously he was talking about, in the latter part of his life now, about the UFO and disclosures, but also people are saying, which I have on my Facebook too, talking about Stephen
Greer.
No, the Disclosure movie. What's his name? Spielberg is coming out with a movie. Yeah, Steven Spielberg.
Spielberg.
The movie is coming out
with a movie in a couple months.
Yes, and he was discussing that. As far as I know, I mean, I haven't seen the articles, but this is what, and it was getting very close to this movie coming out. So I do believe, getting back to that subject, that they don't want us to know. But how and world is what's going to happen when people absolutely see aliens on this earth.
Right. Well, you think, as Elizabeth April and Bashar and others are saying, that the aliens are going to show up and walk among us? I mean, now they are walking among us.
Well, I was just going to say, you and I know better right now. They're definitely walking amongst us. But when it's actually on the news completely, and it happened here in Florida, didn't they arrive at a mall?
They did.
But it still hasn't really. Miami. It's not out there. It's out there, but there's only a certain amount of people that know about this. And I feel that it's my duty too to help people to get over their initial shock of the fact that they're here to help us, the majority. Not everyone, but the majority, as you know.
Why do you think it's so difficult for people to believe that we are the only entities in the mass, and the billions and trillions of planets in the galaxies in the universe? Why do you think they won't accept it?
It's because we've been brainwashed in a way to not to believe this. There are many people that don't want us to find out, but it's becoming more and more, let's say, popular subject today. So we need to expose people. I mean, the governments and people that understand a lot of this will tell you that it's a big secret, and a lot of people in the governments know about this, but they're frightened. I don't know, they're frightened to expose this, but it's going to happen.
Have you been listening to any of the congressional hearings with
We did a few months ago. They are coming out with a lot of the news doing this, but the regular news should be covering this much more than it is. But they will, and I think they should. They are starting definitely to get people used to the idea that we're not alone here.
Yeah. So you've been around a long time, and you talked to some good people. David Icke, you know David Icke?
Yeah, I don't know him personally, but I've certainly listened to his...
What do you think about David Icke?
I think that he was a very courageous man many years ago when he first came out with the stories of what was going on. Right. Just so my viewers probably may or may not know David Icke, but he came out with a lot of things that were happening. He called one of his books, I believe, was The World's Biggest Secret.
Right.
And in that book, he explains a lot of what's really been going on, and the best way to put that is behind the scenes, what goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Well, some of the people in the audience may have some questions of you.
Yeah, I was just looking over, Dawn, Freddie. Hi.
The other person I want to bring up before, go ahead, Freddie. Go ahead, Freddie. No, I was going to talk about Geller, Eric.
Uri Geller, yeah. I met
him?
Uri Geller that was very strange also.
You met him?
I met him, yeah. I actually have been to his house in London when he was living in London.
Tell me about that.
And he's a big believer of this. He's tried to talk to the world about this too, very much so. And, he does a lot like they would call today, it's a magician, but he's not. He's a mentalist. But
right.
He has openly worked for the CIA doing remote viewing.
Right.
And he came into my path, which was not like I was friendly with Aldo, but because he was a celebrity, and it was very strange that I was able to meet him. I won't go into the whole story.
Up about it.
Okay, well...
So he was a mentalist, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, he's much more than that, but he's been talking
what?
about open disclosure and aliens for a very long time.
He was on top of that.
Yeah, but he's known a public figure. There's been many things written about him that people have just tried to disregard what he's had to say.
Right.
So that was interesting. Okay, Freddie.
What I'm interested in, I did some research and I find out that as far back as 2000 up to even this year, there are scientists that are disappearing with information about this particular subject matter. In 2000, a gentleman by the name of Rodney Marks, which was an astrophysicist, died of methane poisoning in Antarctica. Amy Eskridge, in 2022, Alabama researcher who reportedly studied gravity modification, expressed her fears before suicide, allegedly. So there's a whole list of names. It's a whole list of scientists in different parts of the studies. And I can even read the ones that died this year. And now the question is beginning to be asked. If this is supposedly the year that we're supposed to alleviate and show what's going on, why are these scientists being liquidated?
Well, because they know too much. They'll only
knowing too much and the time to expose truth.
Yes, but they'll only give us what they want us to know. We're going into another part of what's going on. A lot of people have wanted to keep this undercover. They don't want it to happen. But today, so many more people are beginning to what they call wake up. So they're aware that we're not alone here, and there are many different planets. So they are disclosing a certain amount. But there is so much more deeper than that, what we're going to see. It goes beyond just having aliens or other planets. So the ones that really know about it, they often say, even when they're talking, that they've had death threats, many of them. Sometimes they don't give you a death threat. So I'm not saying that this happened to David Wilcox. He knew a lot. He committed suicide. I'm not there. I'm not working.
But that's the common thing about committing suicide. It seems like any time somebody has something to say, they commit suicide. How many suicides can you have on the same subject matter over and over again?
That's correct. And actually talking, which you had mentioned David Icke, well, he was one of the first people that I believe, he's English, many, many years ago, that had no problems in disclosing all this whatsoever and continued over the years. He's quite a well-known figure today. Now, why am I bringing that up? Is because he's often said on his shows, they could come after me. But if anything happened to him, and this is how he used to answer on his shows, it makes his point even clearer if you think about it. Suddenly that he's been wiped off the face of the earth. Sure. He says, I don't feel threatened because if they come after me, they know the reason why, because he's disclosed so much. So that's just one person. Now, a lot of these scientists, I don't know. I know that it is now in the mainstream news. If you know too much, your life apparently is threatened. So, it goes one step further.
Especially for the people who've been read in to know what all the nuances of what's going on. Most people who are out of the loop, so to speak, and they come and do a show like a podcast, like they'll tolerate me. Okay,
Yeah, they'll tolerate
he doesn't know
me.
too much because he hasn't been read
exactly.
in, right? But the people who have been read in and know all the nuances, all the underground bases in Dorsey and
well, many people are right.
Yeah, what's going on under all the pyramids. I mean, they tell them to shut up. For instance, when we had at one point the guy with Area 51, he was on the show.
Yes, he disappeared.
Yeah, they tried to kill him, but they couldn't kill him, and so what they decided to do was to take all the benefits away that he had as a retired colonel, Air Force colonel, head of Area 51. So they tell you shut up, but if you don't shut up, like Stephen Greer. You know,
and a lot of these people, not to interrupt you,
Sure.
are well-known figures.
Oh, absolutely.
So they're going after the well-known people because they're very, very credible when they come out with this. So
Right.
unfortunately, when they do that, sometimes something can happen to them. I'm not here to say that it did or it didn't. I don't know. I really don't know. But I only know what I read in the newspapers, or I don't read a newspaper anymore on the computer.
Well,
or listen to
there's a
shows.
gentleman by the name of William Neal McCaslin, a retired U.S. Air Force Major General who oversaw classified aerospace research and has ties to the Stars Inc. and NASA. And he committed suicide last month.
It's getting a little bit strange, isn't it? That
But
all these people are
everything
committing.
everybody commits
That's
suicide.
correct.
Is attached to
Well,
this
that's
thing.
why we really, with Russ too, we wanted to do this show just to make people. I don't know. I don't know the truth. I only know what I know, and I was guided for many years into understanding more. But if people would just wake up to say, well, maybe whether they've committed suicide or not, I don't know, but maybe there's some truth into what they're saying, because these are all credible people. Just Russ and I are two people sitting doing a show, and we're not really disclosing too much. Please, I hope not. But
please,
something
please,
strange,
don't pick on you.
I would say maybe is going on. I don't know.
Want to take a commercial break?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, when we come back, I've got other questions of you.
Okay. Well, after, all right, that's fine.
Tell them.
Oh, I'm sorry, because you said this is a strange show. We're sitting in the wrong spot. I'm used to sitting over there. We'll be back after this, after our break. Okay, on the other side of this show.
A true story, Call Me Zena, is the telling of Sally Bernard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of two and a grandmother of four, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the third dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Bernard, and you can find my book at authorhouse and amazon.com, or visit my art on my clothing in my boutique at artbysallybernard.com. Now back to the show. Hi, welcome back. Russ just handed me this, and I'm going to read it. It'll only
Please.
take a few seconds.
That's all. That's
okay, it's actually written by David Wilcox, who allegedly, I mean, we know,
well, he
committed
was
suicide 2 or 3
influential,
days
yeah.
ago. Instructions before visiting Earth. In the event that you wake up and find, I've not read this, is the first time I'm reading it. Find your soul separated from source and manifest into material form. Don't panic. Your condition is only temporary. We have been selected for the opportunity of human incarnation. This 3D simulation is designed to break up the monotony of eternity by giving you a full immersive experience as a distinct ego identity. Your body will serve as your physical avatar. As you navigate a dense and dramatic reality, there will be many distractions causing you to forget your true nature and origin. You will experience a range of emotions from joy to loneliness to despair. But remember, no matter what trials and tremors you encounter, your soul remains perfectly safe. It's bringing tears to my eyes. At times you may feel lost or afraid. This is totally normal. If you ever need guidance, simply slow down your busy mind and bring your awareness to a quiet place inside yourself. On this planet, nothing is permanent. People and things will come and go. You will fall in love and form sentimental attachments, only to lose everything you hold dear. So cling to nothing too tightly, even yourself. And when it's time to let go with grace, for nothing is owned, only borrowed. As you walk among the people on the planet, try to be a good guest. Tread lightly. Remember that you are only visiting. Don't make a mess. Listen more than you speak. Give more than you take. Don't keep your heart soft, locked against a glass cage, protected from wear and tear. You'll never make it out alive, and time passes quickly. So come back with some battle scars and good stories to tell. Oh my gosh, I did not know what this was about. I was reading it really quickly.
That's
but
good.
Thank you for that. It explains so much, and that's a tribute, my tribute to someone I didn't know.
It's what you've been talking about for the last 3 years.
It absolutely is. And this is written by David Wilcox?
No, but some other guy, but he was.
But thank you. Yeah, it was bringing tears to my eyes.
Yeah,
that's quite something.
Because basically all of us have come from somewhere else in the universe, in the galaxy, to this planet at this time for disclosure. We volunteered to come here. So they took your memory, you don't remember any of it, but that's who you are. A very developed, high.
Well, I believe that we all know this, but at certain times we choose, and this is the time on Earth that people that are waking up again.
We need to wake up.
Yes, and this is the time to do it, Russ. I know you agree with me here, because we're going through a shift. This world is chaotic right now.
Right.
It's like it's the calm. It's not even the calm before the storm, because the storm is appearing, right? We say the calm before the storm. But what's happening today is more and more people, because they're needed, these people, to help other people to begin to understand that there's so much more than just fighting and wars, to be kind to each other. You'll live such a different life. And the most important, which I know you'll agree with too, is raising that vibrational energy, because once you raise that, they're keeping us on a low vibrational energy. That's why we're attracting all these things. But once you raise that energy a little bit more, you're going to attract the things that we should be having in this world, not all these horrible things that are going on, right? So the fact that we're even doing the show about this, I don't,
that's a miracle in itself.
It's just, it is. It really is.
So all the people that you know, your husband and other people, your friends, they should be doing shows.
Well,
everyone should be doing shows.
You know, one thing I will say, I mean, I know that when you start to begin to understand this, it's not easy. No. And it takes a lot of work. I was saying that to someone the other day. I knew a lot of this when I was a child, but I was psychic, but I didn't know that other people were not that way. In actuality, we're all psychic. It's just that we have to be aware of it, and it may not be their time. But right now, the people that are on Earth that have come here for this particular reason are beginning to tell their stories now, are beginning to say, well, no, let's keep this a secret any longer. Forget what they're trying to do. We've discussed that and we know that. But the people that now, today, are getting more and more into the fact that we aren't alone, that goes against a lot of what we've been told. And they're having situations like I did, flying all around the place, astral traveling, which is real. It's very real. And remote viewing. So more and more of this is coming out, and hopefully now it's lifting our vibration a little bit more, so that we will meet more people and be able to talk to more people, advanced more than I am or less advanced than I am or yourself. But the idea is to get this out and to get this higher vibrational here on Earth, so that we can move into a much nicer world.
Right.
Right.
And that's coming.
That's definitely coming.
That's on its way.
It takes work, Russ, as you know that.
Right. Oh yeah.
It doesn't
absolutely.
happen overnight.
Yeah. The battle is on.
Right.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up is that I was reading Dr. Michael Seller. You read it?
Right. The Galactic Federation.
Yeah.
Yes. This is also something so that our viewers know what you just.
Right.
It's a secret space program.
Right. He talks about that.
Yes.
They need to get that book.
And it's very important. I mean, we can't give everybody all the information. So we have to rely on things like this too.
Absolutely.
So it's hard, but just I think for people to be aware that there will be disclosure. There is so much more going on, and anybody now open to questions with what we've talked about, anybody in the audience, please give me them.
It's funny because I said to Freddie a few months ago, do you ever think that we're just a huge social experiment and that there's someone just pulling the string saying, how far will this planet go to be kind to each other, to hurt each other, and then do we change the game? And he said, that's crazy. Who would think like that? But I don't know, it's just like this random thing that popped into my head, and I thought, what if there's just like a greater being that just says, how far will these people actually go to help each other or to harm each other? And it's like game on. And then you read this, and I'm thinking, wow, that's almost what I asked you a few months ago. Do you remember that? And you thought I was woo-woo?
Yes, a lot of woo-woo.
A lot of woo-woo. But there's so much dark in this on this planet, and I think there's no way humanity would actually do this to each other. There's got to be something that's just manipulating the situation, like a game.
Absolutely, because really I often refer this to an illusion or to a game, because we're just many different parts we play. We play good and bad, actually. But right now we've tipped it over, which I've said before, a lot to the darker side. We need to lighten up. The word lighten up is a great phrase too. And for people, for humanity to be more open to all these things that we do discuss that are out there, because I know that you've read a lot of literature on this, Russ, and it's out there, but you have to seek it, because if you don't, you're not going to find it.
Yeah, you have to do your
Unless,
homework.
I mean, what happened to me was pretty strange, because I had no idea what was going on, but it suddenly all came to me. But I did know from another life, but I didn't even believe in past lives at that time.
Okay, briefly, there are a lot of people probably in your situation now,
Yes.
the way you were 3 years ago or
Yeah,
5
well,
years
even
ago, 10
20,
years
about
ago.
20 years
Okay.
ago, yeah.
So now, what would you say that they should be doing, those people who are kind of got...
Well, I mean, if it happened to me a little while ago when I went to, I was turning in my lease for my car, and the girl that was doing the paperwork suddenly, from out of the blue, told me that suddenly a lot of things were happening to her. I mean, I'm just sitting there with Steve, and he's going, here we go again, you know, because we do attract one another.
Right.
That's what I really want to say. I'm in a car dealership, and this girl had no idea what to do, but she was opening up to an awful lot, and she was worried and scared. And she said, I can't talk to anybody here. But the more that people come out with this, recognize that what is happening to you is perfectly normal, whatever your situation. We all have different ways of beginning to wake up. And go with it and talk and research and find people. Like my show out here is only touching a small audience, but at least I'm getting my part. You're here as my guest, Russ. I know you have a show too, just to let people know in a lighter, softer way, so to speak, that there is much more going on, because there is, and it is about time that everybody comes forward.
But then
with
here's
what's
my
going
question.
on.
We talk about generations and been here before, and you and Aldo, or whoever we want to say. So there are lifetimes of this, and then there's this astral projection that we talk about. So all of these things that we know true are actually part of this
Yeah,
game.
because what's happening is
But you're traveling
overall,
back there.
we are raising, even though it doesn't look like it, we are raising our vibration, not with everybody, because they're still trying to keep it down here. So the more you raise it and talk about it, because it's not just us, it's us as a collective, that more and more stories will start to come out, more and more people are raising that vibrational energy. They're still going on with everything that they're doing, but let's, as they say too, let's rise above this. there's so much more to understand, but you have to have some sort of an open mind to even start to begin to understand that, which, I talk about that a lot.
So it seems there's got to be a continuum, because Russ, and you said last week, miracles can happen in a day. All the things we're working on for the fundraiser, then they're just tangible tokens, and the money can literally just come in at any point in time on this continuum of money versus 20 and back. There's so many things then that you reassess.
I love that you said 20 and back. I love that.
Right? Because who looks like you guys at your age? Whatever that age is. It's older than me and Freddie.
I was thinking, I don't give my age up, but I was going to say, how much experience have we had on Earth if you joined our two numbers together, right? A lot. We've been here a long time,
We've always been a society of, if I see it, I'll believe it. If I talk about it, or people talk about it, if I can't see it, I don't believe it. Okay, so April 23rd, this month, NASA released some photos from the Artemis space program that went around the moon. And I just watched the YouTube, and they're explaining that the reason you can't see a lot of things is because the rays of the sun hide or shed too much light on the lens. But when they went to the dark side of the moon, they saw things that you have to go online to see it. It's unbelievable. And if you don't see it, if you don't believe it, then I don't know what else to tell you. They also announced they're going to cut the program, the Artemis program. All of a sudden, there's no money for it. Wow. All of a sudden, they're cutting it after these videos were declassified. So this is just a strange phenomenon. You're supposed to learn and grow with this thing, and the powers that be decide not to let you do that. That's right. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and I believe that, because that's what they've been doing. If you think back, and I was listening to a program yesterday, I think, on Gaia. How long ago did they go to the moon the first time and step on the moon, okay? They went to the moon, right. In the 60s, was it?
60,
going back 69. A long, long time. Now think about that realistically, that from that time onwards, we've never gone back. Okay, what I heard, which was really interesting, I was listening yesterday, is that they were not welcome there.
That's true.
Not welcome? Why not? Because they didn't. They said you have to have permission for it. I haven't watched what you're watching, but this is what I'm hearing and seeing. You actually have to have permission, because there are many bases there of other people. Now, this sounds ridiculously way out, but think about this. All those years, they never went back, and now you say they're thinking of getting rid of the program again.
Now they want to cut the program.
Doesn't add up. Maybe there's a little more reasons for this, Freddie. They don't want us to know.
I just showed Dawn what they have posted. This was declassified on the 23rd of April. And in here is pointing towards objects that are floating in there. And they have no explanation for it.
Well, they've had remote viewings. People that can or have actually visited the moon.
Well, this is Artemis. This is the spacecraft that just went around the moon.
They can't disclose it. They can't. What they've seen, and I believe that was from the first time. I believe they went to the moon. Many people don't even believe that. But they didn't have permission to get out of their spaceship and go there. Why did they not do it this time? They make some excuses. These are real situations, I believe, that it's now coming to light a little bit more, right?
Yeah,
they don't want us to know.
Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, especially, said that recently, he's 94 now, he said that when they went to the moon, they met aliens, and there were alien spaceships, and they said, don't come back here, this is our territory.
That's right, I didn't know that.
And they never went back.
And
they never went back.
I didn't know what you was going to say.
Don't come back here, this is not a planet, this is our observatory.
That's exactly right,
it was put there many hundreds of thousands of years ago to watch us.
And it's actually hollow inside.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
It's metal. How do we know the same thing?
Well, you used to have people from Hollow Earth?
Hollow Earth, below too. Yeah,
that you used to have on your show when I first met you.
Yeah, people.
It's the same thing.
There are many people who live way beyond in the core of the crust of the earth. Many people, the bases there. under the Bermuda Triangle, there 20 miles deep, there's a
What
whole
about
city.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
There's many bases
Under
there.
every pyramid, there's a tunnel that collects all the pyramids in the world. But people that don't know that yet, they won't disclose that yet to the average person.
And everything that he's saying,
Yeah.
I've also heard many times. So I mean,
The people who disclose it die.
well,
Apparently, of
there are
suicide.
many. This is true too. That's what we
That's
kind of
a
was
lot
talking
of-
about.
But a lot of them are still alive, like Colonel.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, Colonel Corso. Before he died, he wrote a book called The Day After Roswell, where he explains much of this stuff.
Right.
So many books. You got William Tompkins, selected by extraterrestrials. He just died. He's 94 years old. And he talks about it in his 3-volume books about what this whole thing is about. So it's called research. You know, if you're an engineer, if you're a PhD,
And these are credible.
astrophysicist.
They are credible people coming.
Oh,
we can
absolutely.
talk all we like here, but we're credible.
Yeah.
But people don't know us.
Absolutely.
These are people that you know that are coming out with these stories,
It's
which you
so
just
much
read. Some of the
material
ones
coming
that
down the
they got to, I guess. But
This
there is
is
so
big.
many more people that are credible that are still coming out with this today. And the fact, I believe also, and I said this many years ago, more and more people will come forward, whistleblowers, because they're getting older today. And as they get older, there's nothing, you know, we're gonna pass
Yeah,
sooner or
right,
later.
right, yeah.
So they come out more with the stories. So a lot of these people that had kept quiet are now becoming whistleblowers.
Yeah, many of them are going to come out
So
now.
it's very credible. I mean, it sounds, since we've all been told the other way of living, and there's nothing. This is ridiculous. How can it be when so many more people now are coming forward with it? Forget the fact that maybe they're killing them. I don't.
They can't kill everybody, but they can do a good.
They can do it. Yeah, that's true. They're not going to, because then we'd really know something was going on. Now we're not sure. We're thinking it's coincidence, right?
So the Men in Black was a real deal that Spielberg talked about years ago in the book, in that motion
How does he
picture.
know so much, Russ?
Huh?
How does Spielberg know so much?
Well, okay, good question. Because they come to him and give him that information, and he can't tell the truth, so he puts it in the motion picture so that we can get a glimmer, a glint, just a little piece of what the truth is. So that's what they do.
So they can say it sometimes
Spielberg
fiction.
also did a television series, 13 and a half hours. It's called Taken. He did that 20 years ago, 13 and a half hour series on television. If you want to get it, you have to go to Amazon and get the whole 13 and a half hours and watch it. And 98% of what's in that 13 and a half hours, they say it's right on target, it's true.
And they've been trying to disclose this in many different ways, and they call it fiction. It's not. A lot of that.
Didn't Walt Disney also have
Yep.
vision, and they tried to shut him down?
Yep.
So he did all this stuff with messages.
Absolutely.
Is that
right.
correct?
That's right. Yes.
Absolutely.
So now, the fact of what's happening here right now is you're questioning what we're bringing out, because you're beginning to see that these things have been happening for a long time and these people disappear. All these things, because now you can see why they want to keep it secret. They'll go to any length to keep this a secret. Well, the world is changing today. More and more people believe in reincarnation. More and more people believe that, I'm talking to spirits. If I had said that maybe 20 years ago, I wouldn't be here. Not necessarily killed, but I would have been locked up on a load of medicine.
At least.
We've seen that. So more and more people that keep coming out with this will begin to see the truth, basically, of what they've been hiding from us. So these shows, Russ, and what you are doing too, are very, very important.
Critical.
But there are many people, it's not just us, they're all around the world coming out with all this
Okay,
today.
so such a simple question. Why?
Well,
And what's next?
Okay, they don't want us to know, because the people behind all this control the world, okay? So when they control the world, it's like anybody, let's say someone is controlling you who you know. Once you begin to understand that this is what's happening to you, first of all, you're going to get very inquisitive. You're going to question who they are and why are they doing that. Well, they don't want that to ever come out. Well, today we know that something is going on. We don't necessarily know who the people are because you will not know. The ones at the very top, and I don't mind discussing it, I know that you know this too, we do not know the names. We know the names of many other people, but they're very, very...
They're becoming...
And it's only a small percentage of people too that rule our world today. It's a very small percentage.
Most people say that BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard control 98% of what we perceive is the media, right? But they parse and separate what we get. It's like the Truman Show. We in a little cul-de-sac here, and they feed us what they want us to feed us because they want to control you.
Yeah,
the Illuminati, Draco, diabolical entities that control the planets. They want you to be under their thumbnail and on their plantation working for them and not working with them.
Can I just clarify the fact
deal.
They are definitely aliens, but I also don't want to scare people, Russ. There are good aliens. There are a few, as you know, not to interrupt your story because it's all happening.
No,
but
it's
I
true.
don't want people. We don't want to say aliens are bad.
No,
These are aliens off our planet that come here, but there's only a small percentage of them that are doing what they're doing. The rest of there's many, many planets. They're good people. They want to help us. They're watching us with this nuclear stuff.
Yeah.
They're good, but there is there are people that are exactly what you're saying.
Let me say this. There's a guy named Bashar. He's been talking about it for 40 years in the media. And there's a young lady, Elizabeth April. She's been doing it. Laura Eisenhower, the great-great-granddaughter of President Eisenhower, if you will. There's Linda Moulton Howe. There's Dolores Cannon. All of these people have been talking about all of this stuff for many, many, many years.
But then you even talked about Jesus being an alien.
Of course. Why
That's
not?
even harder because...
He was an Anunnaki.
Yes, that's right.
And he came here to help us.
It's little by little to open up, but as you just mentioned, all these people, which I know of, also, that have been trying to tell the world what's going on, but we haven't. We haven't really succeeded because there's a lot of people that we're working
because they
on it.
control the media.
That's right.
They control what we get. They control the impressions of who we think we are, and they want to keep you down because you, as an entity with the estimate of at least 24 different alien DNA in your system, you're just as powerful as anybody on this planet.
That's one of the reasons.
And they don't want you to feel that way. They don't want you to use your energy, your powers of creativity.
That's right.
So they want to keep you on the plantation, if you will. A young lady there. Any questions about any of this stuff? No? No questions? No comments?
It's hard to take in, but your mind eventually gets accustomed to it, right, Russ? When I first heard all this from Aldo 20-something years ago, and I apparently knew all this from another lifetime, which we were talking about.
But you can think about it all now, and it's having this great conversation of open information, but then you think history, and you think about the slaves on the plantation, you think about the wars in World War II and the annihilation of humanity and religious persecution, and you think, why? It's so it becomes so tremendous that you can't wrap your head around it thinking there's good, and why would they allow so much evil?
Because the people who, like Elizabeth April said the other day, that's an excellent question. Why? Why would we pit one person against each other? Why would we be nefarious, if you will, evil, despicable, diabolical? Why would we treat each other? Why would we do that? It's not necessarily we're doing it. There's certain groups of aliens who are pushing us to be divided, to divide and conquer.
Exactly. That was another expression that Aldo always used to say. But the more we can lift, which we were saying earlier, our vibrational energy, that we'll overcome this. Because that's what they don't like. And I don't even think, and you may be able to help me with this, because I'm not sure of the answer, and they may give it to me or not. They can't do what we're doing. They can do other things, and they can do all this, but they can't lift that vibrational high, right?
Yeah, it's a big, big, big subject. I mean, tons of materials, billions and trillions of ideas out there in constructs in terms of what's happening. You might want to even read that little paragraph from this book.
Well, we're finishing now, but I don't, by the way, I have no idea what you're handing me, but I'll still read it, okay? What the negatives do, and they're doing abduction and near-death experience, is the following. During an abduction, a man, for instance, will be taken aboard a ship. His body will be brought into a coma, into the point of death, wherein the soul exists. They will use technology to replace original. Well, this is very, very. I mean, I know. I'm doing something here. Okay, basically, all that little by little, and that's what I have to do. Also,
soul,
even with the audience
and
here,
replace it with another soul.
This is very, very, very.
And it takes 4 seconds to do that. But anyway, it's a lot. And we don't. Most people don't want to talk about all the nefarious things that are going on. They try to keep it balanced a little bit, the good and the bad, the positive and the negative.
But it's important, Russ, for people to know a little bit about this, so that we can just.
All right, can you leave us on a positive note?
I was just going to say, and it's very important. Absolutely. I was just looking at the time because the clock is right here. To be ending this on a positive note, because we can make a difference. Not me, you, everybody can. That is understanding. We have to know what we're up against, basically. So what you have to do, you don't have to do anything. I hate to say what you have to do. It's advisable to lift your vibrational energy higher. And then they can't get to us. Eventually, we will win. We will win. And on that note,
the light is stronger than the dark.
Exactly. And with that, we'll say goodbye. It was a difficult show. It was a strange show. But thank you, Russ, for bringing a lot of this information.
I appreciate you
doing
this.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Dawn and Freddie, because
you're dedicated.
It's a strange subject, but it's a real subject. Okay. Thank you. Hopefully, I'll see you all next week. Bye. This time next week. Tune in. You never know what to expect. You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Bernard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybernard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed day.